The various Mario RPGs and the Paper Mario series in particular have had a rough few years of releases. What was once a very highly regarded series that could basically do no wrong back in the GameCube days has become pretty thoroughly tarnished. Add to that the fact that it's on a system that honestly hasn't gotten a ton of love lately, even from the company who put it on the market in the first place, and creating a new Paper Mario game exclusively for the Wii U seems like a doomed prospect from the very start. That said, releasing a Paper Mario game on the Wii U instead of making another one for the 3DS certainly has its advantages, most notably in the graphical department. Like so many Nintendo franchises on the Wii U, Color Splash is the absolute best that Paper Mario has ever looked. The style really pops in high definition, and that effect is heightened by Color Splash's introduction of, well, color as its primary new mechanic. Bowser's latest plot involves stealing all the color from the world. Shy Guys have begun to run around with straws and literally suck the paint from everything. And as Mario, your job, as ever, is to stop him from achieving his goals. Color Splash does employ a mostly traditional RPG combat system to help you do that, unlike the departure seen in the last console incarnation of the series. At first glance, the combat system seems like the usual Paper Mario combat, timing your jumps and hammer hits perfectly to score more damage. But the game uses a card system that is extremely similar to Sticker Star's much maligned sticker system. Every attack you perform requires you to use up a consumable card instead of just choosing the attack from a menu. Thankfully, it's easy to replenish your cards by going to the main hub's card shop and forking over some gold to purchase any card you've seen in the world. And in Color Splash, gold is an almost unbelievably plentiful resource thanks to the Rochambeau temples, where you can earn practically unlimited amounts of gold very easily by just playing a few rounds of rock, paper, scissors. So I ended up spending most of the game either capped on gold or very close to cap, mostly unintentionally, buying whatever cards I wanted to buy between levels without worrying about cost at all. And that ultimately made the whole card system feel kind of pointless. Any conservatism in my rate of attack that the card system may have inspired was completely cancelled out by the abundance of gold and my ability to just buy more cards. Though the limited deck size of 99 definitely did become a factor by the end of the game when it came to choosing which cards to take with me, almost like a deck building type thing. But that seems like an unintentional side effect of the limit, not a design choice on the part of the developers. But the most despised part of Sticker Star's gameplay wasn't the combat stickers, it was the thing stickers. And those have returned as well, serving basically the same purpose: special one-off cards that you're required to use to solve specific puzzles and complete specific boss battles, though thankfully they've had some of their biggest issues solved. For starters, there's a Toad in the main town who will offer you replacement thing cards if you accidentally use or throw away one that is crucial to the progression of the story. But perhaps even more importantly, you're never in the dark as to which thing card or cards you need to use, with another Toad in town that will tell you exactly which cards you need for upcoming challenges and where to find those cards, and a third Toad who helps you be sure of exactly where you need to go in order to move the plot along. Granted, all these extra Toads definitely feel like tacked-on fixes, band-aids for a fundamentally broken system, but they absolutely work. I never felt the utter frustration that I felt in Sticker Star with things. I almost always knew exactly which card to use and exactly when to use it, both in the world and in boss fights. However, even with those effective band-aids in place for mistakes of the past, Nintendo does also make some new ones. Like a lot of games that make their home on the Wii U, Color Splash's combat and general gameplay mechanics are somewhat hampered by Nintendo's deep desire to continue to try and prove that the Wii U's touchscreen was a good idea, shoehorning in functionality at every turn, from cutting out parts of the environments to solve puzzles on it, to forcing a massive chunk of the interface onto it and only it. Color Splash does give you options when it comes to the controls, but they frustratingly don't apply universally. I set the game to the touch plus buttons option, which is great for combat, allowing me to quickly flip through my cards using the D-pad to select which one I want, then putting it up and coloring it all with buttons instead of the touchscreen. But when I wanted to sell cards at the card shop to get rid of ones I didn't want, I was forced to use the touchscreen. The buttons don't work no matter what the control scheme is set to. It's never really been the combat mechanics or the gameplay mechanics in general that have really made Paper Mario shine over the years, though. Those elements have definitely been better than they are in Color Splash, but the glue that has always held these games together has been the clever writing, and that's done just as well as ever. There is the usual Paper Mario reliance on fourth wall breaking humor that can be somewhat tiring, but it still works more often than not. Paper Mario uses that sort of humor that aims relatively low, but hits most of its marks. The game is funny, but it isn't exactly hilarious. Not all the jokes hit, but the game moves on quickly. It doesn't spend a lot of time with any single joke. There's no unnecessary lingering. And that variety, that willingness to experiment, is on display throughout the entirety of Color Splash. It's something that is extremely important in an RPG, even one as casual as the Paper Mario games tend to be. On the battle side of things, it stays interesting by continually introducing new cards that facilitate new types of attacks, and it does an even better job with the levels. Only a few of the levels are what I would consider to be generic. For the most part, every single new area has its own unique cast of characters, and even new puzzle-solving mechanics exclusive to a handful of levels. You might be helping some ghostly toads fulfill their last earthly wishes, or perhaps assisting a bunch of pirate toads in seeking their treasure on a far-off island. There are a few times when the game becomes a bit preoccupied with a single concept, but for the most part, Color Splash does an excellent job of constantly introducing new mechanics and ideas throughout the entirety of its day or so of playtime without spending a significant amount of time dwelling on any single concept. Paper Mario Color Splash ends up feeling like a step in the right direction for the series. It doesn't quite reach the same heights as its older predecessors, but more importantly, it doesn't come anywhere near the lowest lows that Paper Mario has experienced recently. It's a well-written, fun adventure through a cleverly built and well-designed paper world, and even though mechanically the game's reliance on cards and the gamepad end up feeling mostly pointless and out of place, they never felt particularly bad or frustrating in the same way that Sticker Star's mechanics did. Those improvements to that system, along with the witty nature of the game and the variety of the environment and characters, meant I still very much enjoyed playing Color Splash. It never overstayed its welcome or became disinteresting. With a few relatively minor mechanical tweaks, this probably could have been a great Paper Mario game. But as it is, it's still a very good one. If you like this review, maybe you'll like some of the other stuff I do on my channel. Every Monday, I do a retro review, a review of a game that's at least 10 years old, and I see how well it's held up today, if it's still worth playing now. Then, on Fridays, I review games that were either ignored when they came out or have been forgotten since, games that people have missed, and I tell you why you should go back and check those games out. If you like either of those ideas or just want to see more of my thoughts on modern games, be sure to hit that subscribe button below, and thanks for watching.